Hello and welcome to episode 68 of the WP Café show with me, Keith Devon, and my co-host, Mark Wilkinson. How are you doing today, Mark?
I am very well. I've got a sore back, but other than that, I'm very well. I managed to destroy it yesterday playing golf, which was not good.
Yeah. Just feel like that's part of middle age, isn't it? Sore backs, always tired.
But yeah, I'm just falling apart, basically, getting old. Like, this year has been the year of injuries with my wrist, ankle, back pain, stroke leg pain. But yeah, other than that, I'm fine. It's a nice sunny day up here in the north of England, which is great.
Yeah, beautiful day here too. So we are going to chat about some WordPress related stuff, as always. Some stuff that we've been up to, some stuff that we've seen in the kind of WordPress space, kind of news items, I guess. But before we get cracking, first of all, thanks for joining us. For anyone that's watching along live, or of course, if you're listening to this as a podcast or catching up later on, thanks very much. We appreciate you being with us. If you do like the content of today's show, please do consider giving us a like if you're on YouTube, or subscribing if you're, again, on YouTube, or listening along on a podcast if you want to get more of this kind of thing. We do our best just to kind of show up every week and have a little chat about WordPress, if that's your thing. So what are we talking about today, Mark?
So we have got a couple of topics of discussion. First being the Ollie theme and the issue with it being put in, or trying to be put into the plugin theme repository.
Yeah.
Got to chat about the WordPress survey, which I haven't actually seen, but I know you have looked at. A bit about cron jobs issue I've been having, and you've put a link to a tweet in the notes. I don't actually know what it is. I haven't got that far, so I'm sure you've got something to say, topic about that. So yeah, a couple of things to talk about. So let's get stuck into the first topic of conversation, which was the Ollie theme. Now, if you've not followed the Ollie theme, it's become quite a popular WordPress block theme produced by, I think it's Mike McAllister.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of positivity on Twitter about it, or X, and a number of people commenting that it's certainly something that you should look into having a look at if you want to build themes with a block theme. And one of the sort of controversy, shall we say, about this is that Mike wanted to put this into the WordPress themes repository so that people could, download it as part of, and he could get it distributed. And it was rejected. And the reason for its rejection was that he's developed a quite new and different onboarding screen as part of the theme. So what it does, I believe, I've not actually done this in the theme, but I've seen videos and I've seen people doing it. When you install the theme, it takes you to the site editor, and in the site editor, there's like a new tab or panel, and it basically starts to onboard you into WordPress. And it does a lot of the heavy lifting, such as like setting the home page, setting the blog post page, putting your site title in, choosing your colors, things like that. And it's a much nicer interface, I think, for getting set up with that and getting the whole site set up. And it was rejected by the WordPress.org theme review team because that technically isn't allowed, I don't think. And I think one of the reasons they said that wasn't allowed was it kind of opens a can of worms for themes to start doing kind of whatever they want then. And they weren't, I think possibly rightly so, they weren't sure that's the direction that they wanted all themes to go down. They would rather have that done by WordPress. I think that was the direction. So interesting to hear what people think. What are your thoughts? I'm sure you've seen the screenshots of the onboarding process. Did you like it, or did you think it was just not necessary? What do you think?
I really like it. It's exactly the kind of direction that I think WordPress should be going in. And I think it's a real shame for Mike and for the community as a whole that it hasn't been accepted. And the WP Tavern article that covers this, thought it was quite an interesting article, and it was very, I felt like it was very opinionated for a tavern piece, in the sense that there was like a strong suggestion that we need this kind of thing in WordPress, and that maybe Mike has been quite hard done by. And I was kind of nodding along, thinking, yeah, we need this, we need innovation, we need better onboarding. And then you do read the kind of comments pushing back, and it's like, oh, yeah, I can kind of see it from their side too. Like, this is something that's going in .org that is really changing the admin experience, and if everyone starts to do that, we're in the same situation we were in pre-block editor, pre-full site editing, the kind of situation that we're trying to get away from. But I would say that if there's pushback within the kind of theme community and kind of WordPress community, and we want everyone to do things the WordPress way needs to be better. And then Mike won't need to come in and solve this problem himself. So, and how are we going to get those kind of innovations if we don't allow it? So I think Carolina is one of the people that was pushing back on it. And she's got good reasons. You know, she's a sensible person. She's committed to the WordPress project. She's not doing this to be mean. You know, she's got very good reasons. But yeah, I do wonder how we're gonna innovate and get better if there's no space to do that. Like, one of her suggestions was that, well, this should be, I think it was her suggestion. One of the suggestions was that this is plugin territory, and if he wants to build an onboarding product, build it as a plugin. But it's pretty unrealistic to build an onboarding experience as a plugin that's just going to work across the board for WordPress, considering how diverse WordPress is. So I think what Mike's trying to do is he's trying to make the kind of this is probably a really bad metaphor, but like the Apple kind of experience within WordPress. It's like, I'm going to control this thing end to end and make it a beautiful, seamless piece, rather than you need to go and download this thing over here and this thing over here. Like, his argument is that the whole point of what he's trying to do is that you don't need to install something else. Like, it's an easy process from the get-go. And if you actually go to the site, what is the site? Hang on. Let me see if I can grab the URL very quickly. So, ollywp.com. Now, you can click the view the demo link, and this is a really cool example of someone using InstaWP, which is, I can't remember who came up with Insta. But it's basically like a sort of fire and forget WordPress installation that people can use. It's super, super cool. Just spin something up really quickly. You can go in and play with it, and then it's destroyed. Like, in this case, 2 hours later. Amazing. Yep. So you can go in and like see what this is like, and if you do it, you'll be like, wow, this is what the WordPress experience should be like. So I'm quite disappointed that it's being rejected. I think that Justin Tadlock got involved, and he was saying that some of these rules need to be updated because they're pretty antiquated. Like, some of the reasons, like things like settings should be in the customizer. It's like, but there really is no customizer anymore, and so that rule for themes doesn't make any sense anymore because we're trying to get rid of the customizer completely. So it's things like that. So there's a lot. This kind of story touches on a lot of stuff that's happening within the WordPress ecosystem, and I just feel a bit sorry for Mike for being caught in the middle of it. I
think it's good that Mike's caught in it. I mean, it's not good for Mike, but I think it's good that someone has brought this to the front of people's attention, because I think that's probably going to end up with better products. I kind of I'm on the side of, if this goes against the theme rules, then it shouldn't be allowed. However, that should put to the forefront the fact, from what Justin was saying, that perhaps those theme rules, I'm just calling them theme rules, the rules for getting in the theme repository, should be up for discussion and debate and change then. But I don't think it's right to say we have this set of guidelines and rules, but actually this is really cool, we're going to let it in. I don't think that's right. So
there is some precedent for that, though. Like, again, in the article, it says that there's like a special case tag that sometimes they use in the theme review team for something that is truly like innovative and does something outside of the rules for a very good reason. And you can maybe argue that
changing the rules, and I think the fact that it says settings must go in the customizer is a classic example of the pace of Gutenberg's development and block editor and full site editor development has gone so fast that I think really those rules haven't been able to keep up pace with that. It's like you say, is the customizer now the best place to put in settings for a theme? I don't know, actually. I don't think so. I don't think the idea is that the customizer is supposed to be used anymore. I think, in fact, if I'm rightly saying it, unless there are registered customizer settings, it actually disappears. So that is a classic example that things need to be updated. And if things need to be updated, then surely we can bring this into that debate. And is this something that needs to be updated as well? Having said that, and I don't know the answer to this, but are there anything in this onboarding process that is specific to the Ollie theme? Or is it general WordPress settings onboarding? Because if it is general WordPress settings onboarding, then shouldn't WordPress be doing that and not the theme?
Well, yes.
And the theme extending that for settings that are customized to the theme, if that makes sense.
I think it is theme specific. So, for example, like not all of it, but
that's what I mean. Not all of it. So
yeah, I'm looking at the very
first bits that
page.
aren't all of it to be generically set by WordPress. But
well, I think we actually do want all of this stuff to be set kind of generically. But what I'm saying is that currently, I don't think within WordPress core there's a concept of a primary color, like a brand color. You've got color palettes, but so he's got like a brand color, like choose like he says, use the accent color above or add your brand color to be used as the main accent color. And underneath that's like the site icon. So, things like that are already built into WordPress. So he's kind of mixing things that are theme specific and things that are kind of like more WordPress core. But yeah, I mean, it's, I don't think, maybe people aren't complaining, but I don't think we can complain about the lack of adoption for block themes and full site editing on one hand, and then prevent people from making that experience better for end users on the other hand. Like, that seems to be really counterproductive to me.
Yeah.
And this is how WordPress has always evolved. Like, people build things in themes and plugins, and then WordPress eventually probably adapts them, and builds them into the product.
But yeah, and I think that's probably what will happen. Why can't they take what Mike's done and use, if it's suitable, or 90% of it's suitable, why can't that become, if everyone decides that is the way forward, why can't that become part of core? And use what Mike's done. That's what open source is about, isn't it? So maybe that's something that they could do. But hey ho. Interesting topic, though. Be interesting to see what people think. If you're watching along, then let us know in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you are. It'd be nice to see who's listening along, and let us know your thoughts on that topic. Be interesting
absolutely.
To see what the consensus is between the.
Good luck to Mike, and also good luck to the theme review team, because I mean that's got to be a tricky job at the best of times. So hope everyone gets it sorted out and we get the outcome everyone wants.
I also watched an interview with Jamie from Poodle Press and Mike about his theme. That was an interesting one. If you have not watched that, I'd recommend watching that. We'll find a link for it somewhere, but that was good. And he was talking. The bit that I took away from it was Mike was sort of saying how hard it is to make a block theme with all the sort of colours and things to make it all work for everybody. He's just saying it's really difficult to do, which is one of the reasons why the adoption has been quite low. Which brings me on to that next point in the notes, which is as part of, I think it was part of the WP Tavern article about the issue we've just been discussing. There was a quote in there that in 2022, only 54% of respondents to the WordPress annual survey, so that was last year's survey, have used the block editor, which I thought, that's 4 years after it was introduced, and only 54% of the people who were kind of supposed to be the ones that take work forward haven't even used it.
That's what I find so astounding, is that it's not 54% of all people that use WordPress. It's people that are motivated enough to fill in the survey, which is people like you and me.
I only read that this morning, and when I looked at that article, and I was like, wow, that is, But when I think about it, that kind of kind of mirrors my experience of talking to other developers.
Yeah.
the rare times we get to do it these days. We used to do a lot of word camps and things, and very few have actually engaged in the block editor. Specifically, very few have engaged in the site editor. So, in a way, it doesn't surprise me, but it is quite staggering that for 4 years we haven't been able to move forward with people adopting it. The reason why that quote was in the article, it was because Mike's point was we want to try and get the block themes to be, a higher profile and more people using them. And one of the things that's stopping that was the fact that it was hard to set up, and therefore the onboarding process was going to help people do that, which will help people use block themes. So that's an interesting point. Yeah. That's a great segue into point number 3, which is the WordPress survey for this year. I know you were looking at that. I haven't actually looked at it yet and filled it in. Have you filled it in? What's happening?
Well, it's the same old, isn't it? Really. I do this. I don't actually do it every year. Sometimes I kind of forget or miss it or whatever. But my experience this year, I feel like a bit of an idiot now. But I got to a question, and it was like 1 to 7 along the top.
Yeah.
A bunch of questions down the left-hand side, and then checkboxes for each of the 1 to 7. And I just assumed kind of just rate these from 1 to 7. So I'm clicking away, and then I get to the bottom of the page, and it says I haven't filled something in properly. So I'm like, what? So I go back up, and it's that section. I'm like, okay, oh yeah, why have I not, where are all my little dots gone, my little checkboxes? So radio buttons actually. So I start clicking the radio buttons again, and as I'm clicking them, there's another one disappearing over there, and then I'm clicking this one, and that one disappears. I'm like, is this just broken or what? Anyway, I tweeted about it, and then someone today, I think, or last night, replied, it's like, you can only give the value to one of the answers. So there's 7 questions, and you have to, it's ranking them. It's not asking your opinion on each one. It's rank these things. And I'd completely missed that. A, because I literally don't want to read every single word of everything I consume. But I also, what a weird way to ask a ranking question.
Interface, yeah. Just drag and drop them in the right order would be the best way.
Yeah. Or type a number or something. Yeah. It was just so counterintuitive. I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see it now. Now that makes sense why it wasn't working. Anyway, I didn't get any further than that. And then I tried to fill it out again today, and it says, you've completed this survey. And I just get nothing. I'm like, I haven't. I got to question 5. So
are the questions similar to there's nothing that innovatively new in there, is there? Or?
There was something. What was it? There was something in there that kind of made me laugh. It was something along the lines of how you use WordPress, and the options were Elementor wasn't there or something. Do you know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah.
It was something along those lines. I was like, oh yeah, they've just handily just grouped all of those massive things into one other, and you couldn't even write if you selected other. You couldn't type anything. So it was something like what page builder? I don't know. It wasn't that, but it was something along those lines, which made me laugh a bit. It was very weighted towards automatic. Let's just put it like that.
I never saw it. I must have. I've never. Usually, you see it, don't you? Someone tweets it, or it ends up in a Slack channel, or so. I've just missed it completely. Yeah. So I'll probably fill in at some point.
It's there. Where if people want to find it, they can find it. It's one of the first articles currently on the WordPress.org/news webpage. I think it's the second or first or second article on there. So if you're listening to this anywhere near Friday the 29th of September 2023, then jump on and you can probably find it there. Just Google for it though. You'll find it. And it's good that as many people as possible fill this stuff in.
It's just, if you don't know what it is, it's done every year just to try and gather information and data about the WordPress ecosystem and community. So it's probably worth filling in. I don't think it collects any personal information or anything, does it? No. Unless you want to put your email address in and stuff. I think it's just
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. You say every year. It went suspiciously quiet during the first few years of Gutenberg.
Did it?
Yeah.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder. Anyway. On to our next topic, cron jobs. You've been having a bit of a Chronundrum. Do you like
Chronundrum? I like it. How long have you been waiting to say that?
Since the start of the show. So tell us what's been going on.
So I had a support ticket by one of our clients that came up and said, "Oh, we've got some jobs that are like live on the website, and they weren't being expired, and they'd all passed their expiration date." So I knew that it was a WordPress cron that was supposed to do that. It runs every hour, I think, and just basically gets the jobs that are currently not expired, and then works out whether they've passed their expiration date, and then it marks the post status as expired. So this job hadn't done that, and I think it was the 10th of August or something like that it was supposed to expire. So obviously, if it's 20 minutes ago or today, sometimes it might not have expired. You usually wait till the next day, and it would have expired. But it turns out that it hasn't expired. So I had to investigate it. So the first thing I did was to install John Blackburn's, and I think there's more developers on it than John, but I think he's the main guy that does it. So it's called WP Crontrol, and it's a plugin that allows you to view all of the cron events on the website. It also allows you to manage cron time schedules as well, so you can add ones, take them away, etc. But essentially, it allows you to list them all, and it also allows to run them as well. So when I loaded that plugin, it had a message at the top that said 403 access denied error. And then it gives a link to the wiki, I think it was. And the wiki sort of indicates if you're getting a 403 error, it's something to chat with your host about, because essentially, I think what it means is that WordPress can't communicate with the WP cron file, which is in WordPress. So it's like, I can't do this because I can't access the code to run these things. And there was warnings and error messages, missed crons on every one of them. So I hit sort of run now to sort of see, well, can I just run it now? It allows you to run it. Nothing happened. It wouldn't run, which is consistent, I suppose, with the 403 error. If it can't run the file, it can't run the cron, I suppose. So that was a problem. So right, what do I do now? So I did kind of what the support suggested, was to contact the host. It's hosted on WP Engine, and they jumped on the chat. I was like 26th in the queue, which is something that's never been happening with the WP Engine. Usually like 2 or 3 in front of you. So I waited for the chat, jumped on there, asked them what they thought might be the issue, and got very little assistance, to be fair. Basically saying, what's changed on your website? I basically said, nothing really we've changed in the last few months. There's been various CSS updates, minor little things that we've changed that are just not going to have anything to do with the cron. And they responded, well, all these plugins have changed. So it was like Gravity Forms, WordPress SEO. I'm like, yeah, they've updated. And they're like, oh, well, we'll have to start turning plugins off to be able to work out what's going on. I was just like, really? The 403 error, and you think turning plugins off? So that's as far as I've got, really. I have no other solution. I'm a bit struck as to what to do. The only thing they suggested, which is a sensible suggestion, is to get work that out on staging. And for that, I need to make a copy of the live site on staging. And because of the way that we've set up the multi-sites with map domains, that didn't work last time we created the staging on WP Engine. It was a right ball ache, to want of a better phrase. So that's the next stage. Need to work out whether I can destroy the staging and then set that up. So just really frustrating. Cron jobs, yeah. I mean, I just literally don't know why it's not working, but I'm sure we'll find out. Come to the answer. If anyone knows and has got this amazing answer for me, then please let me know. But yeah, I'm a bit stuck.
But like you said, in WP Engine's defense, they were working at some point.
Yeah.
And then presumably they do work on WP Engine as a platform.
Yeah. Well, what they did say is that, because obviously a cron job in WordPress is like a time-sensitive function that runs every certain time. But it's not a real cron in that you need visitors on the website to actually run the code. And then when a visitor lands on the page, one of the things that WordPress does is checks the crons and check what needs to be run and then runs it if necessary. So if you don't have visitors on the site, the crons will miss and won't run. That's not the case really with this site. These sites, they're well-visited sites. They're not going to have issues with that. But what WP Engine also said is that they have actually created a real cron for this install. So it actually does have a real server cron that pings this service every minute, 5 minutes. I don't know what it was. So there shouldn't be an issue with that either, because it's forcing, it's doing a proper cron on the server. So again, I'm not sure what that is, but I don't know. We'll report back if and when we get a solution. But very frustrating.
Yeah. All right.
It's one of those things that you asked for help on, and it's like, I don't know. and you do obviously the checks that and things, and you just kind of come to a dead end, and you're like, I don't know what to do now, really. But we'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, WP Crons. If anyone's got any wisdom on them, do let me know. I'm intrigued. Right, last thing on the list. We've got a tweet from you. Don't know, let us know what it was.
Yeah, so I don't really know what I want to say about this. I just thought it was quite timely for us. So this is a tweet from Justin Ferriman, who I follow. So he's a WordPress product guy who I think has sold his products, and he's now coaching product owners. I think that's the kind of journey he's taken.
His ex-file says sold LearnDash.
There you go, LearnDash.
He sold LearnDash at some point. So that's right.
But he wrote a tweet. It's more like a essay. I didn't even realize you could write tweets this long. It's absolutely ridiculous.
You need to be a Twitter Blue member, Keith. That's the key.
It's longer than most blog posts, but anyway, it's kind of good. The gist of it is WordPress, making a living from WordPress products is harder than it used to be. You can't keep doing what you used to do and expect success. Pull your finger out and try some new stuff. So that's the gist of it, which I thought was kind of interesting, especially I guess we haven't experienced that kind of change. I don't we are really late to the product game. So I think loads of people were in that kind of golden era, and just things were so easy. There was not much competition. Life was good. And we've come in kind of late, so I think we've been used to the kind of level of competition, which is why I guess what has worked for us is actually super niche, and we're a small team, so that kind of works for us. But he's just basically saying don't stagnate. He says the market is changing and you're not. Be honest with yourself. Have you really tried to up your game? When was the last time you did a brand refresh or worked on your inbound sales plan or adventured into new marketing channels or leveled up your support experience? All that kind of stuff. And I just thought, that's all the stuff that kind of we're thinking about more and more these days. So, we've started looking at ads. We haven't actually done it yet, but that's one of his points. He makes kind of four things to do, and one of them is paid ads. It's time, do it. So, and I think that just shows, when things are saturated, it's not enough to be one of 10 WordPress development agencies. You're now one of 300 in your area. So you're probably not going to be on the first page of Google just by sitting on your arse, not paying any attention to SEO. It's that kind of mindset. We've gone from this area where there was just so much work going around and not that many people delivering. It's a supply and demand thing.
Yep.
There used to be massive demand, not much supply, so we could just be you would ask any WordPress freelancer or agency, is what do you do for marketing? I don't really. Nobody was really doing any properly, and it doesn't work anymore. More and more people I talk to, work is harder and harder to come by.
Definitely.
You've got to put the effort in. I just thought, he says hacky isn't cute anymore. There was a time when WordPress products had a grassroots feel to them, not anymore. He's like, you need to put out polished, professional products and material. And I think he's right. I think generally he's right.
I think that's just general business sense, isn't it? If you keep doing the same thing and don't grow and change and modify and evolve, then you will fall behind. And I think we've seen that with our website side of our business. It's been neglected while we've been working on the products, and we haven't really built many websites because there haven't been many inquiries because that bit's been neglected. It makes complete sense. So
yeah,
that's good advice. Do something different. If you do the same thing, you'll get the same results. So
yeah, and just take things more seriously. It's not the WordPress ecosystem. I think you made a really good point there about like being hacky and grassrootsy. It's not anymore. You're competing against highly polished plugins, SaaS businesses, products. You gotta step up your game, basically. So let's step up our game, Mark. Come on, we can do it.
I'll press.
We're trying. We're trying. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
The step up the game button. It's pressed. You're going for it. It's fine.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
We are. We're doing things. We're trying things.
Yeah, certainly trying.
Could we be doing more? Yes, but we are trying things. You know, I think.
Yeah.
You can do too much too quick, I think, as well, and get lost. So it's about doing things at the right pace for you as well. But,
it's true.
But yeah, if you don't do anything, nothing will change. So give it a go. Give it a go. Cool.
Got a few comments. Do you want to run through any of those, Mark? I think I've been rambling on for long enough.
So Mark, just come in late. We'll watch the playback and say, can I suggest anything? I presume that's about the Cron. So yes, thank you, Mark.
I think so.
If you've got any excellent suggestions, that'd be good. Peter says, I joined like 2. I've been watching it 2 times to try and catch up. Really good discussion around the Ollie and the survey. I wonder what we sound like at 2 times the speed. That must be really weird. Anyway. Maybe it's better.
Thanks for the feedback there, Peter. I appreciate it.
And Xlam says, first mover advantage is real when it comes to plugins. What does he mean by that first mover? I mean, do something first, and if you're first through the door, you'll get a better advantage than others.
I think that's true, but I also think you can be a first mover and get no traction. You know, I really believe that. Like, it's not enough just to put something in the repo or publish a web page and hope for the best, unless you've already got like a massive audience somehow. I think it is an advantage, helps. But you've got to back it up with some substance and some marketing and some exposure.
I think you could say that about anything that you. Yeah. If you just do one thing, it's going to be better than nothing, but it's probably going to be a combination of a few things, and maybe that's one of those things. You know what I mean? That makes it work. Probably that's the case. Yeah. Right. That's 32 minutes. Nearly 33 minutes. So thanks for joining us. If you have joined us. If you haven't and you're listening on the podcast, thanks for listening. We will be back same time next week. As always, a like is lovely. If you'd like the video, that'd be great. Please subscribe to the channel and let us know if there's anything you want us to discuss, any questions that you might have for next week's episode. If not, we will see you all same time next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.